Good evening, folks. I hope everybody's still energetic. I know I'm the only session between you and the awards, so I'll keep it quick. Um, my name is Mayur. I'm the chief data scientist. I've been with the organization for about 8 years. And it's really hard to talk about our AI journey in 10 minutes, so I'll do my best. Also, it's amazing that everybody before me said that I'm going to be talking a lot about generative AI. I wish they had checked with me. But anyway, not that any talk can be complete without generative AI, and I will touch upon it. But what I wanted to focus on is not just the fact that we as a company are jumping onto a new thing like generative AI, but how we have been building this muscle over the last decade or so, right? It takes a lot of dedication and commitment, and the amount of resources that we have put into it and the kind of strength that we have built is what I wanted to showcase, and also touching upon specifically what it means from an advertising perspective, from a seller perspective, and so on. So let's get into it. I think you've seen these numbers. Almost 500 million of users on Flipkart, 150 million products, 420,000 sellers like you, 2 billion monthly visits, right? That's an immense amount of data. I mean, as the saying goes, we literally have a front seat at the retail industry in India, and there's absolutely no other company that knows the Indian retailer as good as we do. Now, a lot of technology in AI is fairly commoditized. Everybody has access to ChatGPT. But what differentiates us as an organization is access to this data, which helps us customize these solutions, whether it is ChatGPT or GenAI in general, or anything else for the e-commerce space to make it work for our customers and our sellers, right? And I'm going to touch upon that a little bit. Of course, with scale comes a lot of challenge, but that's not the only challenge that you see in the Indian context, right? The Indian market is very, very different. If you take US, Europe, or even China, right, these are fairly homogeneous markets. Whereas if you look at what happens in India, right, it's pretty amazing in terms of its diversity. There are 22 languages, every state is different, the culture is different, the levels of literacy are different, right? And to make an e-commerce platform work in such diversity takes a lot of effort and takes a lot of intelligence. I mean, can you imagine that if you tell a person sitting in England that J-U-T-E is shoes, he'll laugh at you, right? But what's happening here is that somebody who understands Hindi but is forced to type on an English keyboard is typing in jute as J-U-T-E, and you're supposed to make sense out of it. Those are some of the real implications of all of these aspects of India in terms of low literacy, diversity, mixed typing, and so on and so forth. And that's what we need to make sense out of. So another important aspect about what we have done over the last decade is that many companies you will see apply AI in one or two areas. Typically, it's things like recommendations or search, or something of that sort. Whereas at Flipkart, we have been deeply investing in AI in pretty much all aspects of e-commerce, whether it is aspects facing the supply side, things like pricing, quality, selection, and so on, or of course, things that are facing the customer side or the demand side, right? The search, the cataloging, the payment, the advertising, and so on and so forth, and everything else in between. So that is something that we are really proud about. And the team that we have built, the diversity of techniques that it uses is amazing, whether it is computer vision, natural language processing, voice understanding, whether it is operations research, which is what gets used in a lot of our supply chain, to generative AI, which is what I'll touch upon briefly coming next. All of this is actually powered with some of the best compute that we have. These are some of the numbers, pretty mind-boggling, of what we have in our data centers, including specialized hardwares or GPUs from NVIDIA, and we are in the process of getting some more of these. But we are sitting on such incredible amount of compute and data is what differentiates us and what gives us that depth and breadth in data science that we can use to power e-commerce in India. And finally, let's not forget, right? All of this is good, but what you need a lot of brain power as well. We have some of the best minds, people with amazing pedigrees, PhDs from Stanford, CMU, IIScs, IITs, name you what, right? We have some of the amazing data scientists in India, and it's not me saying this, right? This is a validation of some of the research that we have done. Every year, we publish dozens of papers in some of the top worldwide conferences, and here is just a sample of some of them over the last couple of years. So hopefully by now I have kind of thoroughly impressed you with, like I said, the strength that we have as an organization and the breadth of data science that gets applied in e-commerce at Flipkart. So with that, let me jump into some of the things that you really care about, right? You must be asking, okay, all this is great, Mayur, but how does it help me as an advertiser, as a seller? So one of the main things, kind of the brain behind advertising and in general behind content matching is a system that we have developed, which is what it does is, we have codenamed it as Opus. What it is basically it is modeling the user response. Think of a very simple problem. If I show you a piece of content usually could be a banner ad, it could be a search result, it could be a recommendation, how likely are you going to click on it? And that question is very different. It's different for Anand, it's different for Ganesh, and it's different for each and every one of you. So what we have is an extremely hyper-personalized system that given the content, given the context and the user is ranking or scoring every piece of content out there, including ads and including recommendations and so on. And the scale of this is enormous. Every day we are scoring billions of content for millions of users. And this is being done in an online manner, and we are finding out new patterns in real time. So this is an online learning system, and this is really the brains that is powering the advertising system and many other systems. But this is what is giving you the best ROAS that you're seeing out there. And last but not the least, of course, I mean, we couldn't have done this without talking about GenAI, right? So let me talk a little bit about GenAI. I think Anand mentioned our end-to-end shopping assistant. We have launched this on our homepage, on our product page, but this is really just the beginning of the journey. We really want to create that experience where if you walk into a shop, somebody handholds you, answers any question that you might have, suggests you alternatives. You might have questions related to returns, payments, whatever it might be, right? So can you have such a digital virtual assistant that is supremely hyper-personalized? And that's what we have launched. But like I said, this is just the beginning, and we have a long ways to go in terms of improving it. But do try it out. Similarly, on the search side, right, we have a very fresh experience or multimodal search. Today, when you do out a search, you like a particular product, but that's not exactly what you want. I like that particular shirt, but I want it in a slightly different color, or maybe I want a check pattern on it instead of a stripes. How do you express that? It's very hard using just text queries. So what you have is an experience where you can take a pivot product that you like and then further enhance it using cues, which are both image cues, text cues, and so on. And that's what we are calling Immerse. We've launched this again in a kind of a beta mode, and we plan to make it better and also take care of more kind of ways in which you can express yourself. So those are some of the innovations that we have in the GenAI space. Specifically targeted to brands, sellers, and advertising are some of these things, right? What we have here is automatically created video ads using a virtual model. And this is great in terms of some of the engaging experiences that our users are looking for in today's world with Gen Z and so on, right? Or you can just upload an image of your product, and we will enhance the background for you, which is a lot more contextual. For homepage or category-based advertising, we can take stock image generations. So those are some of the things which Shyam and other folks talked about, and all of these are today being experimented and tried out in the context of Flipkart. And all of these are powered through generative AI. Finally, like I said, at the heart of a successful e-commerce journey is good discovery, which is not only important for our customers, but it is also what gives a better return on advertising revenue or other spend for you guys, the advertisers, right? So you can see how in the context of India, when somebody says hair belts mangtika, what it really means. So understanding the semantics behind it, maybe rewriting it into the language that the seller has put in what in our catalog, or if somebody searches for 6-pocket pants for men's jean, right, it actually means cargo's men. So again, those are some of the articulation gaps that we are solving using semantic matching, which is again powered through generative AI. So those are literally just a sample of the innovations that we are doing in our data science team at Flipkart, and specifically powered through generative AI and very pertinent from a seller and advertising perspective. With that, I'll stop here, and thank you very much.